This is not a drill. Mephisto may be confirmed for the MCU.
Don't lie to me.
And I'm not messing with you. This time it's actually true. And of course, ever since this character was first rumored around WandaVision, people have badly wanted to see Mephisto in the actual MCU. And it's become kind of a freaking meme to the point where every single trailer that comes out for a Marvel project is met with Mephisto confirmed retweets, people making up ridiculous situations where they think this person, that person, or maybe this ant that's on the ground or a rat flying behind someone going into a vortex is actually Mephisto. Look, the point is, man, people have been pretty thirsty to be getting Mephisto in the MCU, and it looks like it's actually happened. So let's break this down. Let's talk about where this character is going to show up according to the rumors, who's going to be playing the character, and I'm going to kind of give you all kinds of thoughts on why this is so freaking cool, and yet again, another sign of Kevin Feige righting a few of the wrongs of Phase 4. Now, before we talk about this actual new report, I want to kind of fill you in on the lore of Mephisto in the MCU. Maybe you've seen some of the memes, maybe you've seen some of the jokes, but you don't fully comprehend the lore behind Mephisto in the MCU. And yeah, a lot of this happened during WandaVision, where there seemed to be several different hints that the Mephisto character was going to be involved in the show.
The devil's in the details, Bev.
That's not the only place he is.
I think people like Heavy Spoilers and new rock stars probably got it the worst because they would look at any and every little thing in each WandaVision episode and talk about how it referred to Mephisto. But a big thing to keep in mind here, and I mean big, is the fact that this was not just pulled out of the ether. There were a lot of scoopers and leakers back then that had heard that Mephisto was going to be in the show. More specifically, they heard that the character of Mephisto from Marvel Comics and the character of Nightmare from Marvel Comics may be combined into a new character, and that character, for all intents and purposes, would be Mephisto, and that character would be behind a lot of the issues and problems of WandaVision. But now let's talk about the report. This report first came from the Twitter account M Studios News, but was corroborated by My Time to Shine Hello. And the report is that Sacha Baron Cohen will indeed be playing Mephisto, and he will be playing the character of Mephisto in the Ironheart show. I know, that's a lot to take in. There's a lot of layers to this, but at a baseline level here, that is what the report is. Sacha Baron Cohen going to be playing the character of Mephisto in the Ironheart show. Whoa. And a lot of people are suggesting that he'll be playing Mephisto in several other MCU projects as well. Now, in order to explain what Mephisto will be doing in the Ironheart show, I kind of have to give away a little bit of spoilers for that series, but I think these are pretty well known at this point. First up, it's important to talk about how the Ironheart show seems to have a big theme, or maybe a sub-theme, of magic versus technology. And you're going to have the character of Anthony Ramos, aka the Hood from Marvel Comics, serving as somewhat of the main antagonist of the Ironheart show. Now, in the comic books, this character, Anthony Ramos, makes a deal with Dormammu, actually, and gets some of the dark energy, demonic power from Dormammu and utilizes it with the Hood. But the reports are stating now that instead of Dormammu, they're going to replace that character in the show with Mephisto. So basically, Mephisto is going to be the one that gives the Hood his mystical, demonic, crazy powers. And I guess now is as good a time as any to remind you to smash the freaking like button if you're enjoying this video, if you're super hyped up that Mephisto's actually coming back, and also subscribe to the channel. We give away one dope, nerdy thing each month to a lucky subscriber. This month, it's going to be the Reforged Mjolnir, but this month's almost over. Next month's got some really awesome goodies as well. Now, I am going to talk a little bit more about this whole magic versus science Mephisto in the wider MCU. What does that all mean? And a little bit more about the Ironheart show. But first, let's talk about this casting pick here, because Sacha Baron Cohen, very interesting choice. And I think a lot of fans are probably wondering the same thing, and that is he just going to be a goofball? I mean, Sacha Baron Cohen is an incredible actor. He's done some really serious roles. He's really good in almost anything he touches, but he's also Ali G, Bruno, and Borat.
King in the castle, king in the castle.
And the thing is, like, I love Marvel, but Marvel does sometimes make things a little bit too silly, a la Zeus in Thor Love and Thunder. And I swear to God, if Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto comes into some kind of scene and says, "Very nice," I'm going to jump out the freaking window like Mr. Immortal. And it also kind of stings stings a little bit to find out that this was a role that Marvel had offered to Giancarlo Esposito. Giancarlo Esposito passed on this, didn't want to be the devil. I think he still wants to be Professor X, and maybe he will down the line. But regardless, it kind of shows you that they're going for something a little bit more serious. But, you know, Sasha is Sasha. So are they going to make Mephisto a little bit jokey? I actually think this dude is incredibly talented, and this could be a big turning point in his career. I mean, obviously, it's a really big deal to get a big Marvel role, especially if he's going to be in several big projects. And it's also possibly a great opportunity for him to sort of rebrand himself as a little bit more devilish, right? A little bit more of a villain, if you will. And I think that could be very good for Sasha even after he's done playing Mephisto. But okay. Why is it actually a big deal that Mephisto is in the MCU? Isn't he just some kind of devil demon type dude? And yeah, that's true, right? He is kind of like the devil. He's not truly the angelic devil or the actual devil from any mythologies. He's more like a Marvel creation, but he does absolutely bargain with mortals for their souls, and he can damn souls to his plane of dimension. Think of it very similar to the way that Moon Knight talks about different ancestral plane type dimensions, different places that souls can go. Perhaps they can end up in Valhalla, like we see Jane Foster Thor at the end of Love and Thunder. They can end up in the ancestral plane if they were a Black Panther in Wakanda, or they can end up in the Egyptian one. You know, there's a ton of these different dimensions. Well, Mephisto just has one of his own dimensions, and yeah, he's like a devil type character. But he's a part of some very big Marvel stories, and a couple of big stories that we think we're getting soon. Now, one character that Mephisto is intimately connected with is going to be Ghost Rider. If you ever watched the old Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movies, there is the devil type character that's in those films, but they didn't actually call him Mephisto because of a rights issue. I think Marvel still had Mephisto or something like that, but essentially Mephisto and Blackheart are very important characters to the Ghost Rider situation, as yes, Johnny Blaze does strike a deal with Mephisto to save his father, and then he ends up becoming the Ghost Rider. But it's his connection to Scarlet Witch's children that I think are going to be most important for what happens next in the MCU, and his connections to Doctor Doom. There was a moment in time when Mephisto was seemingly destroyed, and he kind of split his essence into a ton of different pieces. Well, as it turned out, two of those pieces of Mephisto's soul ended up being the manifested children of the Scarlet Witch, the ones that she kind of created. And we know that the Young Avengers and the Children's Crusade and Billy and Tommy are something that Marvel wants to play with further down the line. I strongly feel that they're going to do a version of Children's Crusade with Doctor Doom, with the Young Avengers, Billy, Tommy, maybe a bunch of different Avengers, and of course, Doctor Doom himself probably marrying Wanda, as happened in the comic storyline. It's also worth noting that when the Beyonder first comes to Earth to view humanity, Mephisto tries to convince the Beyonder that humanity's pretty freaking awful. Some people even think that may have played a role in the Beyonder wanting to see who is stronger between evil and good on planet Earth. And of course, Mephisto has massive beef with Doctor Doom, as Doctor Doom's mother, who was a witch, has her soul taken by Mephisto. And this is a huge motivating factor for Doctor Doom to become as adept at science and magic as he eventually becomes. I mean, he goes to fight Mephisto in hell several different times, eventually recruiting the help of Stephen Strange, and together with Stephen Strange, they trick Mephisto and save Doctor Doom's mother's soul. And obviously Mephisto didn't like that, and so they kind of have eternal beef. But you see, the Ironheart show itself, I think, is going to be specifically primed to set up Mephisto and possibly Doctor Doom as well. Again, because that show has a lot to do with magic versus science. And I kind of have this big macro theory about how magic and science are the same thing in the MCU, and via the Celestials and their ability to give Cersei the ability to do magic via technology and cosmic power, I think we're going to realize that these things are all the same, and that the Beyonders, the thing in the Beyondverse that's way bigger and more powerful than our universe or multiverse, that they created the multiverse using a combination of magic and science. And the Ironheart show, with the inclusion of the Hood and this big sub theme of magic versus science, I think might take us to some of those conclusions, because there are MacGuffins being set up for Kang's Dynasty and for Avengers Secret Wars, like the Bangle in Miss Marvel and the 10 Rings in Shang-Chi. And so it's possible in the show Ironheart, we're going to see some of those ideas explored, maybe some explanations given as far as what is actually going on with the multiverse. And I do believe this could tie in to the Incursions. And I'm not sure where Mephisto would stand in such a situation where the multiverse was actually being destroyed. I don't know if it would actually affect his realm and dimension or not, but I do think this is going to lead to some very interesting things happening with different characters, like potentially Ghost Rider, Doctor Doom, Wanda's 2 children. And I also think it sets up this idea of explaining magic and science, the actual fabric of what's going on in the Marvel multiverse, which may lead Doctor Doom to a big understanding of how to stop the entire multiverse from being destroyed, which is something that he does in the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars. So frankly, I think there's a ton to be excited about here. I hope that they go super serious with Sacha Baron Cohen playing the role of Mephisto. And again, it's possible this will be not exactly Mephisto from Marvel Comics, maybe a combination of him and Nightmare, maybe other demonic type characters from Marvel Comics. Many scoopers have said that this is true about Sacha Baron Cohen, and he is going to be somewhat of a Mephisto type character, but it might not exactly be Mephisto. So we're going to have to wait and see. I hope he is Mephisto, just kind of for like the memes and the rumor culture when it comes to the MCU. That would be kind of a feel-good moment. But there you have it. Let me know your thoughts about Mephisto in the MCU. Smash a freaking like button on this video if you enjoyed it, and make sure you're subscribed so you have a chance to win the dope nerdy thing that we give away each month. This month, of course, is the Reforged Mjolnir. And if you're looking for something else to watch, why not check out this video, which is sort of a part 2 about how Kevin Feige is fixing the MCU in Phase 5.